Hey Guardians, how's it going? It's Invicta TV here, and I wanted to go ahead and break down the map Asylum for Trials of Osiris. Throughout this video, I'll be beginning with callouts, and then moving on to individual grenade spots, and spots hidden around the map that maybe not everybody knows about, that can completely change the tide of battle. Once I've shown you guys the ropes, I'm going to go ahead and break down individual plays that each team can make, and how to counter them as each team. Hopefully this is going to give you enough knowledge to empower you and your team to make it through to the lighthouse this weekend. So without further ado guys, let's get into it. Alrighty, getting into the callouts for this map. This is a map created by the user Orion the Titan on Reddit. I've used his work for all my other videos regarding map callouts, and I want to say that I fundamentally disagree on some of the callouts for this map. Things like calling this area back A, it makes way more sense to call it A tunnel, or back C, C tunnel. Back C I would refer to as this area, and you want to make sure that you have a call out to differentiate between this area back C and the actual C tunnel. As well as things like calling this balcony as well as this balcony doesn't make too much sense, especially since we also have this area as balcony. You want to make sure that your callouts really stand out depending on the area of the map. So like this area, jungle, I've never heard it referred to as jungle. It's just called tree. There's a giant tree there. We call this tree. There's no need to call it jungle. Shorter syllables, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and credit Orion here. Very thankful and appreciative for his work and help with the community. But I feel like I can make some optimizations to these callouts, and this is what I came up with. Things like, you know, A tunnel, back cafe. He called out here cafe, when obviously this is the actual cafe. This should be referred to as outside cafe. It's real easy callouts. Everyone gets it no matter who you play with. Those sort of optimizations that I think really help not just you as an individual working with any team, but especially help you and your dedicated team, perhaps, if you have a group of friends that you consistently play with. Obviously, you'd call areas like this and this A and C spawn respectively. Also, A special is a nice little call out to know specifically, just to really differentiate where in A spawn they might be. Also, he called out here, outside C area, he called this parking. That makes zero sense in my head. There's no reason to call outside here parking. However, inside underneath, you can see I made a little line to dictate that. I'd call that garage or parking if you so will. There are a couple vehicles down underneath there, and that room doesn't really have a better dedicated name, so garage or parking does work for that. He did call this area up here that I called C room. He called it boxes. The reason why I also I came to the conclusion myself and later noticed he also called it boxes. I would call it box room due to there's a box right here and these boxes here. It makes a little bit of sense to not call it C room because C is technically down over here. It is just like C side room, you know. So if you prefer to go by box room to really make sure you differentiate that amongst your team, that is a fair call out to make and a fair optimization to make. So regardless of the fact that perhaps I mostly refer to it as C room, I want to remain unbiased and provide that other call out for people who may prefer that differentiation. Past that, you know, these are the main callouts to the map, callouts that most everybody could agree with. You can refer to anywhere at bottom B as basement X, basement Y, whatever you want to call them. If you don't like calling it garage, or perhaps people don't understand garage that you're playing with, you can just call it under C room or under box room, something like that. These callouts are of course a little bit interchangeable, but this is a great start, and I definitely recommend learning these callouts in particular, and it should help you with not just, like I said, your dedicated team. They're very simple and understandable callouts, and so therefore it should help you also with any player you go into Trials of Osiris, or just general play, general Crucible alongside. Without further ado guys though, I want to get on with this video, so let's move on here. I've gone ahead and cleared up most of the map here, removing a lot of the callouts, just so that it's easier to see what's going on. It's much less cluttered this way, and I want to show you some great spots, some secret things on this map that a lot of players don't know or don't know all of them, and just little tricks that can really give you an edge here and there, regardless of the plays being made. So let's start off with over here on Perch. For those that don't know of the window here, I'm going to go and bring us into the game and show you multiple ways to use this window. So let's get into that, guys. And here is the spot, ladies and gentlemen. This window right here, this is the Perch window. This is what the callout would be. You obviously see the opening there. For some reason, some people still don't know about it, but it's super easy to get to regardless of class. I'm just showing it on Titan because it's just the character I loaded into. It is super easy to get into. Obviously from the tree side, it's super easy, and if you want to get into it from inside, you can actually still go through that spot, use it. It's a great way to get a crazy angle over onto anywhere in B. You can just float and go through here. Now it does take a bit of work, obviously a little bit of practice rather, obviously, to land that every time. But even if even just going through that spot and making it to Perch quickly without having to go anywhere else can be a nice little surprise. Yeah, it's a great vantage point, great little jump through to use. If you want to push people who are maybe pushing you down through there, you can simply make a kind of push similar to, you know, maybe they're right there at that. You can just jump through, push, start taking shots, things like that. Otherwise, guys, let's move on to the next one. Alrighty, from Perch, remaining in this atrium area, I do want to show one other spot. Thanks to my friend CammyCakes. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a fantastic YouTuber, and I'm going to go ahead and link his stuff in the description. He's given me a lot of love in the past. But moving past that, there's a spot up here in atrium that you can actually jump and hide on the wall. I never knew about this. It's a super great spot for tricking up your opponents, and one that I think that is worth showing. I've never actually used this in game during Trials of Osiris or anything like that, but I can guarantee that it tricks players up, and it's pretty hysterical. So let's get into this. Alrighty, this spot is pretty crazy. It's a nice little, I don't want to say glitch spot, but basically glitch spot that you can stand on. Right there, you can see the wall kind of juts out inside this atrium room, and a lot of people, like, they might be able to see that you're on a different elevation, but nobody really knows this spot too much, so it can trick people up real easily. And simply to get there, one of the best ways, one of the most consistent ways, you can obviously just jump into it, but if you want to really guarantee yourself the spot, using a sword hilt, you can just jump into it and sword hilt at that elevation to really stick the landing perfectly. And you can get eyes on anybody through here, you can get eyes on anybody through there. They will be so confused as to where you are, especially because they already are used to being on a different elevation than people on the ground. They won't know to look up necessarily, and you won't even be on radar necessarily to people way over there, and can get a dirty surprise on them if they decide to push that way. It's definitely a great vantage spot to use for anywhere inside this atrium room, for both offense and defense. Getting back to the map here, I'm going to go ahead and show you a nasty head glitch that a lot of people do know about, but it's worth mentioning for those that don't. It's something to be very aware of, especially if you're pushing from Alpha side, because it's something unique to Bravo side over here at C. In this boxes room, you can actually stand on these boxes and be able to use a sniper or a primary, of course, to see over into the upper room here and get some really dirty snipes, dirty angles here and there. It depends on if the enemies are aware of you, what weapons they're using, if they're counter sniping you, etc. But you have a great advantage in this spot. So let's go ahead and show this. Alrighty, this is the final location I wanted to show off. It is this head glitch right here. You can easily use it to aim over at anybody over in the B top stairs area, see anybody going through that door. You can easily get to it from spawn. almost immediately, perhaps even in time that you can catch people as they make their push into the area up here. If you want to really see over the obstacle without fully standing up and completely exposing yourself, you can aim down and then get into a crouch, and this is what it would be like if you were sitting still. And you can also even go into a walking position to maybe get just a little bit more elevation and really see over it with a real dirty head glitch. A lot of people already know this one, but it is something I wanted to show off for you to be aware of it, both on offense and against this position, of course. One final thing that I think is worth showing, there are probably a few more things that could be shown around the map. I know that there are a couple extra jump spots, but none really worth showing in my book. But there is one final thing that I think a lot of people don't recognize, and that is here at this ticket booth, especially from Alpha side, a great snipe spot. You can also snipe through it from C stairs over here. It's pretty fantastic spot. You can actually see through the shrubs using a sniper. You can see name tags, you can see health bars, and you can generally know when you're on an opponent's head due to the elevation levels and just aiming at headshot level. And I want to go ahead and demonstrate that real fast. Alrighty, so I did say that I would go ahead and show this spot right here. I do have Icebreaker on. You can aim over the bushes to be able to see targets anywhere at C stairs. You can see somebody up there in that glitch spot, or excuse me, not glitch spot, that head glitch. You can actively shoot anybody through here at head level. You just know if you're aiming just over the barrier, that's head level perfectly. Just your head sticks through. Now that does mean that people, let me skate over here real fast, it does mean that people can in fact see you in reverse, and you can actually aim through this bush here, these plants, to snipe anybody in that door as they either cross over to the back door over by B flag, or if they're coming out of that angle, you can easily get a snipe. You even get some aim assist sometimes. You see nameplates, you see health bars. It's pretty decent spot to be aware of. Alrighty, that's it for the nice little spots in the map. I am going to show some major kill zones, major grenade placements that I think are very, very beneficial for your team. So let's definitely get into that. Of course, these are lightning grenade and spike grenades specifically. Really, Asylum is a fantastic map to use these grenades. Anywhere up top here can be shut out. If people are hanging out around B flag here, you can easily shut people out by throwing lightning or spike grenades along these walls, and it affects most of the area up there. It's actually super easy to score kills or at least damage and be able to push weakened targets because they have to hide from cover. Very often they stop challenging in these situations. So if you say bottom B here and you throw a grenade up along these walls, or even this wall here, good flat surface, or even sometimes here if they're standing in this spot, you can immediately knock a player out by making them either simply have to back up or finishing him with some primary kills or primary damage, or just know that you can aggressively push up because you've got more health than they do in that given situation. Of course, also if you let's say you spawn Alpha side and you push through and you secure up here because they're playing back in this area with snipers, playing a little bit more campy, and you're around this wall, one thing that you can do is shut out this entire room with lightning or spike grenades. You can get in various spots. You can jump over here and throw grenades inside into this corner and shut out this area. You can be here and throw grenades onto this wall right here and shut out most of over here. They'd have to be really in this back cubby in order to not take any damage from that. You can also use lightning grenades if people are camping back in C spawn actively. You can go around down here from this car, a pretty good vantage point. You can maybe peek around when they're not looking at you with sniper preferably, or even get closer to this wall to do so, and throw grenades all the way to this entire walled area and nail some damage, make it for easy pushes, make it for easy collapses. Super easy. From C side, pushing perhaps campers over at A, you can do the same thing off spawns. really shut this whole area down, shut this whole area down, A stairs, where they have height advantage if you're pushing from down here. You can also throw onto this box right here in cafe and shut out some people maybe camping in cafe area. Really anywhere where you see flat walled surfaces, pushing upper or lower, you can throw lightning and spike grenades to score major damage and make it super easy to collapse on your opponents. It's one of the strongest nades in the game, lightning and spikes, and they can be so perfectly used depending on the map, depending on your opponent's placements, and you definitely want to save your nades for these opportunities the best you can, not just throw them willy-nilly, because they honestly can be the difference between a round victory and defeat in a single round even, let alone all 5 can, you know, depending on how well you use the nades and how often, obviously can make the difference between victory or defeat for the entire game. One last great spot, of course, I want to show off is bottom heavy. When people push from A to bottom heavy and C has to push a little bit more aggressively to get down there, take them out using head glitches here or pushing down below here, you can throw lightning and spike grenades underneath in this whole area. And of course, score damage on people while they're picking up heavy, really shutting them out and making them regret having pushed for that so aggressively without securing the area a little bit more. Other than that, guys, it's not worth getting much more into the lightning and spike grenade placements without breaking down individual plays. So I know that a lot of you guys may have been waiting for this moment to get into individual plays. I understand this is already coming out to a long video and we haven't even gotten into the plays, but this is the kind of video I want to create for these guides now. It's the kind of video that it's going to give you a lot of information and it might take you a couple sittings to get through it all, but I can guarantee it'll provide major help. And I've already had people come to me and say that these videos have provided or have helped them get their first flawless ever, and I really want to be able to do more for you guys involving that. And that's why I provide timestamps down in the description for different sections of my video. But otherwise, guys, let's get into the plays, the individual plays, and I hope these should really help you guys the most. Less basic information and more specific information. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the way I play call in these strategy guides, I'll give you the quick rundown. You may have noticed that I've added 6 bubbles to the top of the screen. These will represent our players, 3 blue players for Alpha and 3 orange players for Bravo. As I talk, these players will move around the map to demonstrate the play as I describe it. It should be very easy to follow along. My goal is to provide 5 to 10 major plays that are often made between the two teams. This should help you guys with a great number of situations out there in the Crucible, but I cannot run through each and every scenario as they're infinite. Variables may be slightly off, but I can tell you how to react to certain situations and what to look out for to determine how your opponents are reacting and how best to prepare for them and eliminate the competition. So let's get into it. To kick things off, let's look at how to tackle spawn campers at Bravo, which is a very common play. Bravo may move into positions like the following. Player 1 would push up to C stairs and angle through the doors, laning the balcony area around B stairs. Player 2 would probably hover around the box head glitch that I showed off earlier in the video, taking a decent vantage point for players attempting to push through from B room. Lastly, Player 3 will either sit back and spawn to head glitch the railing, or will take a position anywhere between spawn and C flag. Player 3 would focus on watching for a flank through the open area, and focus team support when needed. Now, as Alpha, there are 2 different ways to approach this. The most obvious way would be to pile up and try to pick on one of the 2 players watching the doorway to B. While this is the most often made play, it is definitely not the strongest. Alpha is forced into this chokehold scenario where Bravo is already laned and head glitching either the stairs or the box head glitch, or presumably both. While it can easily be a 2v3 favoring Alpha, the strategy of head glitching multiple angles on the door and forcing Alpha to stack up through the doorway to team shot, Bravo has an arguably better fighting chance. If you're Alpha and have chosen to continue on this choice of play, then let me provide a couple major tips. For starters, make sure to only reveal yourself to one player at a time. If Bravo can get a team shot in this position, they can quickly even the odds, and with their superior positioning, can begin to sweep the remaining players. Another major tip would be to use third person to see exactly where your opponents are standing. Coordinate with your teammates to either nade off one of the Bravo players or keep an eye out for if one of the Bravo players looks another way. Make sure you seize any opportunity. If you're Bravo, you already have a strong advantage, and if Alpha decides to stack up in B room, then player 3 can play the flank game. Player 3 can either travel to Atrium through C flag or head through the open to take angles on players sticking too close to the balcony. This can potentially score a kill or at least weaken opponents, allowing players 1 and 2 to gain a small amount of ground and securely wrap up the kills. Regardless, player 3's goal here should be to stay alive more than it should be to score their own kill. If Alpha team decides to focus attention on player 3, then he should get out of dodge rather than risk gunfights against multiple enemies. Needless to say, the objective spawn point is on B flag, so if Alpha is not feeling comfortable to make a push of their own, then they can feel free to play things slow and take up positions to secure B room for the remainder of the round. However, I want to note that playing slow like this grants both teams time to build up supers, and if your opponents have the stronger supers, or if you feel not as comfortable playing the super game because it's too much of a toss-up, it may be wiser to make fast plays with decent odds than to play a slow round where the pressure sets in. This leads us to our second play. I want you to imagine our scenario like before, where Bravo is holding their spawn and Alpha has secured B room. Alpha has a strong advantage if they're willing to move around. It's easy to divide and conquer when Bravo has placed themselves as separated as they have in this scenario. Time and time again, I have personally ruined a passive Bravo team by simply having one player, or preferably two, head down past tree and position themselves behind truck. It only takes one player to lock down the chokehold doorway from box room. Alpha players 1 and 2 can easily team shot Bravo player 3, and Alpha team can then systematically collapse and execute Bravo. To sum up the strength of this play against Bravo, let's remember that the best defense is a strong offense. Alpha simply picks off Bravo where they're weakest and least fortified, then overpowers the remaining players. I'm going to go ahead and reset the players. It only seems fair that since I've demonstrated how to push Bravo spawn as Alpha, that I get into how to push Alpha spawn as Bravo. Let's imagine Alpha takes up positions as follows. Player 1 hovers around the bottom of A stairs, perhaps pushing up now and then, but never committing to any real challenge. Player 2 sits back with a long-range weapon at initial spawn, and Player 3 heads over to Cafe to take up an angle. The defensive formation is rather strong compared to Bravo's side because each player has their own cover and escape routes, as well as each player is able to defend their teammates' attackers in an instant, for the most part anyway. While Alpha sets up like this, let's imagine Bravo secures B, as their exact positioning doesn't yet matter. From here, many players incorrectly try to funnel through the door at A stairs. This is an even worse chokehold than the doorway to box room on Bravo's side. At most, you only want one player to remain here to make a delayed attack while the other two players hop down to tree area. From tree, Bravo players 1 and 2 should position themselves so that only one opponent can engage at a time. Coordinating team shots, they should either take out the Alpha player at Cafe or force them to pull back to safety. While this happens, Bravo players can angle themselves to work on one of the other two targets, whichever sticks their neck out the most. Use various sources of cover to accomplish this. I am personally fond of the wall next to Atrium where player 1 rests on the screen. Player 2 can push up a little further perhaps to the broken cars, with a quick escape being to pull back northeast according to the way the map is laid. While players 1 and 2 should be perfectly capable of securing the round with some good teamwork, the sucker punch should be coming in from player 3, whom remained up in the hallway. As Alpha focuses attention on the Bravo players outside, Bravo 3 can easily take angle on them from his positioning and finish off opponents while they're distracted. Naturally, as more Alpha players drop, the easier things become. If you're Alpha in this situation, then your priority target should be the player up in hall. If Alpha 1 can challenge and kill this player, then it should be easy to overpower the opposition. For the most part, I don't recommend spawn camping, however. Both spawns can be easily assaulted, assuming the opponents know what they're doing. Let's reset the players again. For the next two plays, I want to provide scenarios where both teams push for B room. Each play can be done by both teams, albeit a little differently on the pathing due to the asymmetry of the map. Regardless, let's kick off by assuming Bravo is simply going to funnel through box room to push into B. In my example, Alpha is going to make a trident-like play to maximize the angles and positions against the opponents. Alpha 2 will be running through A stairs and choose one of the two doors in the hallway to lane through. Alpha 2 needs to be wary of grenades. This is not the time to take unnecessary chip damage, or worse, simply be taken out of play immediately. The back hall door perhaps is a better option to avoid this. Alpha 1 will be making a quick play underneath through basement. Alpha 1 needs to accomplish this as fast as they can, before Bravo has time to make reactions to him. He will be jumping up through B stairs to land by plants, preferably with a sidearm due to proximity to the enemy. There is a good chance that Alpha 1 may die at some point of this play, but due to the angles of his teammates, he will definitely be the major reason that it's an easy round in Alpha's favor. Alpha 1 should score at least one kill from this play. Alpha 3, therefore, will be heading to tree. Depending on how Alpha is feeling about the angles, he can either sit on tree to hit Bravo, or jump up to an angle from perch. If Alpha 3 also wants to be aggressive, then he can jump up over balcony and assist Alpha 1 at close range. Because Bravo is funneled through the door, they don't have much room to maneuver or react to Alpha's play. If Alpha knows what they're doing and their shots are true, Bravo shouldn't stand much of a chance. However, if Bravo recognizes what's going on fast enough, they can turn the tides. Bravo will want to shut down Alpha 2 with nades, at least causing Alpha 2 to delay his play and take a few seconds to recover. Then, they need to anticipate and focus on Alpha 1 jumping up from below. If Bravo can team shot Alpha 1, they'll immediately gain the upper hand. Alpha would not only be a man down, but divided too. As soon as Alpha 1 is taken out, the primary objective is not to finish up the kills, but to ensure that they won't get picked by the remaining players as they recover and gain their senses. To put it simply, they need to make sure that Alpha 3 can't angle them. So as long as they stay alive in this moment, they should be able to easily see the opportunities left in the round and react to Alpha's remaining players. It should make for a swift victory in Bravo's favor by this point. Summarizing the play, Alpha has the best odds making this rush play. However, if Bravo knows how to react and properly shuts down Alpha 1 without losing a player, then Bravo can effectively counter that rush and take advantage. Just remember that, as Bravo team, you need to counter Alpha 1 fast and make sure to stay alive and not let Alpha 3 begin picking you off while you're still focused on the immediate threat. Let's take a step back and assume that Alpha is the one pushing all their players through to B room. Bravo can make the same trident-like play that Alpha did by sending a player through garage and jumping up to B from there, but instead I'm going to detail another play for the sake of time. In this example, Bravo 1 will head alone through box room, not overly committing to any position, but focusing on staying alive with pressuring Alpha as a secondary objective. Bravo 2 and 3 will be heading outside to tree, one taking up angle on perch, and one playing on tree looking for opportunity to get aggressive over the balcony. Bravo 3 on perch will probably want to have either Mida or another long-ranged option on hand. Bravo 2 is simply waiting for the right moment to push up, open with nades, and collapse on a target with Bravo 1's help, and Bravo 3's covering fire. So long as Bravo 1 and 2 collapse wisely and not get too greedy, the round should easily swing in Bravo's favor. Bravo 3 is the strength of the play here, because he should be outside of range for Alpha to make any effective challenge, and Alpha still only has small chokeholded doorways to make plays through. Simply put, Bravo has the room to move and the better angles, while Alpha is forced into poor situations and risky challenges. That's going to have to be it for this video, Guardians. I hope with all I've demonstrated that you guys are able to recognize certain situations and that you can make informed decisions loading into this map. I tried to detail the most often made plays and put it in a general perspective in case there are variables that change. I can't possibly run through the list depending on class and weapon loadouts for every combination, but regardless of subtle differences, these given plays should empower your team with enough knowledge to make meaningful decisions and innovations to carry you the rest of the way. I'm looking forward to making these videos for more maps, and more specifically going into Destiny 2, where I plan on stepping up the quality even further. Please subscribe to the channel and further hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button to be fully aware when I upload new content. If you would like for me to break down even more plays for this map, please feel free to ask in the comments and I can upload a tactics update video to address specific concerns. Until then, good luck out there, and happy hunting, Guardians. If you guys are looking to support my work, please head over to patreon.com/InvictaTV. You can subscribe for $5 to participate in a monthly giveaway of $50 or more, as well as earn double the chance on Trials of Osiris raffles over on my Twitch. Every little bit helps and I appreciate the support.